Hey everybody, welcome to Blasted or Stash It, episode 149. This is your weekly comic book review show where our only opinions and matters are ours. Ours right here, just Joe and I. This is the first time catching a show. Every Wednesday we spend our hard-earned money to pick up the comics on our pull list to review them for you. So if it's a blast, it's a garbage book, we throw it away, we burn it, we do whatever we want with it, thumbs down it. It's a stash, it goes in our long box. It gets put in Mylar. It gets treated so lovely. So today on the panel, just Joe and I again, just because of the schedule conflicts. And finally, this is your spoiler warning. We're not going to hold spoilers back, just in case, because you've had almost, a week to read these books. So if you haven't read them, bad on you. So we're going to jump into the books. We got a few books this week. We'll start with Joe. What's your first book for the week?
Oh, let's talk about Event Leviathan. Now, first off, this book doesn't tell us anything new. If you've been kind of following, not Justice League, but the Supermans and everything else, be prequel to this, you're pretty much caught up. This book is just for people that have not been caught up yet. It's basically dialogue between three people: Lois Lane, Batman, and for some reason Green Arrow, because why not? And we probably get a rundown of all the secret agencies out there that have been destroyed by Leviathan, and we find out more about the tension between Talia Ghul, is that how you say her name? Ra's al Ghul's daughter?
Yeah, Talia. I think it's Talia. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
All right, whatever her name is, doesn't matter. She doesn't make an appearance in this, but we find out that there was some tension in there and stuff going on. We also get Steve Trevor in here. Again, why? I don't know. He's in here talking, saying a lot of words. So really, this book wasn't the big launch that we thought it was going to be. They kind of tiptoed this one in. But I'm still very interested in this character, still very interested in the storyline. And plus, with all the breakup of the issues, kind of compacting it into this one. Yeah, it's a cheap marketing ploy, but I don't mind it because it caught me up to date. So I'm ready for some more of this event. I've been liking it. I really want to like it. I want to know what this restart plan is that he's got going on. So, yeah, I'm going to softly stash this because it's the beginning of an event, and we'll see what happens. Art's beautiful in it. I really like that styling. But other than that, you're not missing a whole lot in this if you've been following this prequel storyline up to this point.
And yeah, see, I haven't been reading any of the Event Leviathan stuff, the tie-ins and all that stuff. So I was a tad bit lost on what was going on, the character. I mean, we got an introduction to him in the Villains 25-cent issue that came out on Free Comic Book Day. So we got kind of an idea of who he is and what his plan is a little bit. But my whole thing with this is Lois Lane. Why is she's not like a superhero. She's just a detective reporter.
Up with is they're trying to play her off as this is going to be a mystery, right? Because who is he? What is he? Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. This isn't the first Leviathan either. We also find out in this issue. This is the second one. So, and I don't remember the first one. I was probably out of comic books for a while when that event came out. But so Lois Lane's a hard knock investigative reporter. Batman's the world's greatest detective. Green Arrow is kind of sort of a detective. Depends on which version of them you read, kind of, sort of. And we did get a background appearance of, I want to say the Question, right? Because I don't think they would bring Rorschach into it, but you couldn't really tell him. Somebody wearing a mask similar to the Question or Rorschach there in the back. So I'm going to go with the Question in it because we haven't seen a whole lot of him. So I think what they're doing is trying to bring all the detectives together, or the inquisitive ones, I guess is the best way to put it. Try to bring them together because in one of the Batman issues, Batman was inducted into the Detective Hall of Fame with all the other ones. They kind of did that. I think they're kind of spinning it softly off of that to see where that will go. We'll probably see more of those characters involved here soon. But I speculate.
Yeah, that I wasn't sure if that was Rorschach because DC's not necessarily, was it Marvel or DC or maybe both of them have done it where they're combining like two titles, like they're trying to bring Doomsday Clock and all that stuff into DC, but yeah, that hasn't wrapped up. But yeah, they would throw Rorschach if it's Rorschach. It's like, okay, dude, you're not even done with that other event. So I think it might be Question too. I don't think it's Rorschach.
It would make more sense for it to be the Question because he was also part of that league of detectives or whatever.
Oh, in that Detective Comics 1000? Is that what that was in?
Yeah, so he was in there. So I'm going to go with that. They were probably just using that as that storyline as just kind of a launch to let you know some of the people that are going to be coming into this new story or event. At least I hope so. I mean, predicting people's hard.
So the other thing I thought was funny here, so this building, this Argus building, is that what it is, or the Odyssey? Yeah. Is that building, like big M looking thing?
I guess so.
I'm like, dude, how small is that dude's penis? I mean, it's just like, wow, good Lord.
I thought that entire dialogue with that lady was cheesy. The place ended up sounding like a human services building in any other government.
Yeah.
You know, let's bring people together and everybody be great. But obviously there was no real plan there, except for what Leviathan thought was a good idea. So he'll twist will twist and kind of mingle that concept up. But we'll see.
Did they have that one short-haired lady? She's talking to Steve Trevor before I think Leviathan attacks and blows the building up. You know, it shows her. I think she gets evaporated. Like Steve Trevor's in this bubble and getting protected. The whole building's destroyed. It looks like she gets evaporated, but she shows up at the end. So we don't know if Steve Trevor's story is true or not. We don't know what's going on there.
Again, this is going to be a great mystery. I think they're going to go more mystery than superhero punching action.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I don't mind those kind of reads. I know they're not some people's favorite. It usually means a lot of dialogue and a lot of narration. And, you know, you can get lost in that. But I don't know. I want to keep my hope out for this because I want a good DC mystery to come out and kind of be an event. You know, I nothing but love for DC, but sometimes they get a little hokey with their characters. So I'm kind of hoping that they kind of, I don't know, grit this up a little bit and make it good.
Have you been reading? It's been in the back of all the DC books lately. The Krypton, the Tales from the Phantom Zone. Did you read that at all?
No.
I just get excited thinking, I have a few more pages of the story. No, it's Krypton. Crap.
Yeah, they're tricking you. They're trying to make that show popular, and I don't blame them. Seems like a good show, but I stream everything, and one of the channels I do not stream is Sci-Fi, so I don't get it.
Okay, let's move on.
You got a book over there you want to talk about?
I got a book. What do I want to talk about? Let's talk about. I don't know. I'm not going to say my pick of the week, but I enjoyed it well enough. You sound like you did not enjoy it at all. The cover was awesome. My comic book store said that it was a furry. Now I don't know if she's a furry or not, and that's Ride Burning Desire. Great Adam Hughes cover. I think that's probably the reason why a lot of people picked it up. Come to find out, this Ride story is like 15 years old. I'm not sure if you knew that at all. So I did a little bit of research on it. It was just like it's all based around like a 68 Camaro. And that's the Camaro is in the first story. I don't think it's up in the backup story at all.
No.
And I'm not sure if any of these, this is the first time I ever read Ride, so I'm not sure if any of these these characters were in the previous versions of Ride. Was it detective as a detective before she got thrown in prison? Was she part of that story? I don't know, unfortunately.
I'll have to check in the book, I guess. I don't know.
But it wasn't too bad. The art on the first half wasn't too bad. I like Adam Hughes art. Adam Hughes very rarely does interior work. Of course, she's like fully nude. I mean, no crotch shot or anything like that, but she's completely nude in a what's the name of the book that all the women were reading a while ago? The sex books. They came out with a list of movies too. That came out with the. He's the
50 Shades of Grey.
Shades of Grey, yeah, 50 Shades of Grey. So she wakes up in that room. This is the backup story. A whole bunch of weird ass things, but yeah, she dressed up as a unicorn that's on the front cover, bashing people's heads in. It wasn't too bad. I said I didn't mind it very much. Doug Wagner, I'm not sure if you've read anything else by Doug Wagner. He wrote Plastic, was a miniseries by I think it was Image or Aftershock a couple years ago. It was about a psycho guy. I don't remember if he was former government or military, but he was dating this blow-up doll, and that was his girlfriend, and they kidnapped his girlfriend, and now he's going back to kill everybody who kidnapped his girlfriend. It was a crazy-ass book. and I wouldn't expect nonetheless from Doug Wagner out of this book. This is only 5 issues long. I think I'd pick up all 5 just to see where this is going. This is just quirky and weird. We got a dude dressed up as Sailor Moon in the first story. We got a midget stripping. We got I'm not sure if he's a bunny dude, but yeah, I'll pick up the next issue because I thought it was good enough, at least for me. What do you think of Ride Burning Desire, the 15th anniversary show?
I don't know what I think of it. It's definitely not my kind of story, that's for sure. I'll start off with that. Contextually, as you read it, it reads very well. The dialogue makes sense. It sounds like something people would actually say. The art in it, phenomenal. And I like the attitude in the first story from the former detective turned convict. I like the attitude. The second story, I don't know, I think it was more shock and awe, like, oh, look, a sex room, and look, there's weapons everywhere, and rednecks, and I don't know. I just couldn't get into that one. First story, I'll read it more for the first story than I will anything else, I guess. But again, I love the use of color in it. You know, I'm trying to figure out at what point, and they do this a lot in comic books. They take a cop or a detective, and all of a sudden they're like special operations ninja people that can defeat anybody. You know, It's a little extreme. I know a lot of cops. I'm like, no, I'll just grab a gun. You know, I don't know. When they talk about this club, and she's talking to the police chief or whatever, and she's like, it's not a strip club. It's a dance club. But then in the first or second, third page, right there, when you look at the place, there's poles. There's a midget dancing with a thong on and something dressed up like it's a strip club. Like, it's a strip club. If you've ever been to a strip club, it's a strip club. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to blast it, and I don't want to say anything bad about it because I did like some of it. It wasn't complete garbage. So we'll see where the story goes. I mean, I'll give any comic book run, 2 or 3 issues into it before I make an ultimate just garbage decision about it. So we'll see where it goes. If they make it cool, I definitely don't want to see and I'll just go ahead and say it, I don't want to see a Mary Sue story. I want to see the hero have boundaries, just like any other hero out there. I don't want this person or this story just to go that route because that's not interesting reading at all. We figure out how that's going to end. So yeah, definitely build up the mystery in it, build up the intensity, and I think they got a good story here. So we'll see.
Yeah, you talked about strip club versus dance. What'd you call
it? Dance club.
Dance club. Same thing. Like when I used to be a bouncer in a bar. Like if I really wanted to try to press, no, we were unarmed security. We weren't bouncers. We were unarmed security. No, we were bouncers. That's all we were. Okay, so that was Ride Burning Desire. And you're up with another book. Right?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about, make sure I got the right one here. Let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man number 23. I like this. Right, if you thought 22 was the ending of the story, this is the actual ending of the hunting arc. Everybody's free. We get and a lot of neat looks in here. Chameleon's in the universe now. He's got a role. That was great the way they showed him at the end. We got Savage 6, where everybody's kind of an animal, and there's 6 of them now. That was great. I love that splash page that was involved in that. And we find out the coolest thing about this new unnamed villain. We find out that he has motive. Right? And it's not take over the world or anything ridiculous like that. He has some sort of deep-seated, what he believes to be a relationship with Spider-Man, and I like that. I thought that, and the Batman, where they had the Joker, and Keith Ledger was the Joker in it, and they showed that they're part of each other type of theory. I think that's what made the Joker most interesting, with his motives and the reasons and his place in life. And I'm kind of hoping they take this no-name villain, they kind of give that interpersonal relationship between him and this villain. I think that would be great. Probably asking too much because it is a Marvel comic book. But I like this. I like that the thing has some value, right? It doesn't want to hurt Mary Jane. It has no problems with Mary Jane, yada, yada, yada. when he was in the centipede form, I guess he kind of made that clear. But there is something that he needs to show Spider-Man. I think that's the correct one. I don't think he wants to kill him. I think he wants to show him something. And I like those kind of villains. They're very maniacal, and they're very, very precise. Also, I like the fact that we still have a Kraven the Hunter. The son has picked up the mantle. He's taken his father's place. So a lot of nuancy first in this book, I guess, is the best way to put it. And I'm glancing at my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. Son takes father's place. Yeah. So, yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up. I always liked Spider-Man because they always try to cram as many villains as they can into one issue. Definitely did not disappoint. Great. It's a hard stash for me.
Yeah, Spider-Man definitely known for his villains. His not the gallery of villains, is the you know what I mean.
I think galleries would be a good word, though. It's definitely a lot of villains.
Okay, my book. This is one that I read this week. You did not, and that is Sonata #1. I grabbed cover B. So this whole story is about this other planet where they have only shown like 3 races so far. They're the Ran, the Tyans, and the Lumani. And so it talks about how these people are leaving their planet. They're going to this planet because all the resources essentially gone, and how the planet orbits. They can only get there from their home planet to here like once every 5 years or so. So you got people that trickle into this planet. So you got these 3 different races. 2 are human, like the Rans and the Tyans. That's Tayans. So they're like human looking, but the Lumen are kind of like this monster, big, kind of bulky thing. What they find out is their water source is trickling down. They can't figure out why, so they go to the Tyans, whatever the hell you want to call them. They found out they have dammed the water up to not allow other people to come in. So what's crazy about this is, so this main girl, Sonata, that's her name. They fly like these big phoenix-looking things through the sky, and her father's talking about, after they go meet with this other group, saying, "Hey, why are you damming the water up? There's enough water to go around." And the other people are like, "No, well, we need to care for our people. I don't care about you." The main bad guy from their group, Cantor, looks very Lemony Snicket kind of dude, and kind of like bald, and kind of I could see him looking just like that and acting just like that. But Sonata's father, I'm trying to find the line here. He talks about he says no, invaders from planet Taya have set up camp in a region. Invaders, they're all invaders. They're all going to this planet. He's an invader too, essentially, if you look at it. But he's kind of trying to be one with this planet, where the other people are trying to kind of control this planet. So they go to talk to this guy about damming the water up. He says, "No, I'm not doing it." So the first group, the Rand people, decide they're going to put a little explosive on the dam to allow a little bit of water to come through. They put too big of an explosive on the dam, which blows the dam completely open, and it floods the village, and they end up knocking Sonata and one of her friends from the Lumani down inside this cavern. And she's saying, "Hey, I've been all over this planet, nothing more sophisticated than like a mud hut, but they find this whole new civilization down, or what's left of a civilization. There's no people yet. They just show this technology and stuff." So it's kind of interesting. The other aspect to it is it has an app. Anarch Press tried to do that with a couple of the Devils. I tried to work with that. I couldn't get it to work. This one you can. You go to the app, you download it. What's cool about it, you can go to each page and scan it, and you can slide down, and it shows you like the original sketch, kind of their idea, and then it shows the pencils, then it shows the final one. So you can just go and kind of look at those different paces, those different steps. You do the cover, and it brings you into a video game of like Joust. So you hold your phone and you're flying the little dude around, getting shields, trying to kill the other guy. It's kind of an interesting concept, but I think it's just a fad. I don't think it's really going to push the issue any further. Yeah, it's just a gimmick. Yeah, kind of a cool one because I mean, if anybody would play the Atari 2600, Joust, that's kind of thing. That's kind of a cool aspect to it. But unfortunately, it's not original enough for me to really go pick up that next issue. So it's a blast for me. So no Sonata number 2 for me.
Oh, so sad.
Huh?
I said, "Oh, that's so sad."
It is. Maybe if they had Pitfall in the next one when I scan the cover, I might be interested in it. Pitfall is a far better game than Joust.
Yeah. I was more of on the Atari, I was more of a tank commander.
Yeah, well, some of those Atari games, you look back at them now, you just look like really 2 little blocks shooting another little block. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm old, so I don't.
I never had an Atari 2600. I had to go to my cousins and beg because he had one. I would probably annoy the hell out of him. That's the reason I wanted to go to his house because he had an Atari 2600. I want to play Pitfall. I want to play Tank, and I would annoy the hell out of him. He'd probably say so to this day.
That is funny. I don't know. We talk about something good. Talk about something better. Oh, first, hey, thanks for being in the chat room, everybody. For all you in there, this has been pre-recorded, as you can tell by the daylight behind me. But don't worry, we're probably in the chat with you. You'll find out soon enough. If I'm saying, hey, I'm here, you'll know. I don't know. Where do we want to go? Do we want to blast something or do we want to stash something? I don't know. Where are we at? Let's talk good about something. Let's talk about Venom number 15. You read this, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Love this story. Love me some savagery in my stories, especially for characters that should be savage. And Eddie Brock, a.k.a. Venom, should be savage. So we left off with him getting this Dreamstone, and he's in this Viking outfit, right? It's great, right? Loved it. Now imagine that, only it's Venom this time, and he's pissed. It was awesome. I love the art with that. I thought that was great. I love Jack-O-Lantern. I thought they dispelled of Jack-O-Lantern a little too easily, but I really love it when he's digging down. He's getting all this rage and shame and regret, and he's using that to feed his anger. And then when that's not working, what does he do? He passes the power off to the people that need to get away, right? The innocent bystanders. And then next thing you know, they're all in these Viking outfits ready to do damage. And they've had that beautiful, beautiful line from the movie that they were doing the marketing campaign from the Venom movie, "We are Venom." I thought that was great. I thought it was a little late. They should have kind of put that towards the movie, but whatever. Issue got out late. But yeah, I thought that was just a great splash page. Well, it wasn't a splash page, but that was a great panel. It should have been a splash page. It should have legitimately been a splash page. And then the people can go defend themselves or whatever. And of course, he takes the power back, goes away. We find out that the witches kind of had this plan of chaos, right? What does chaos ensue? So to have proper chaos, you need 2 forces to fight each other. That's what creates chaos. And that was kind of the plan. And we know that this is going to stick with Eddie Brock because of what the witch says at the end. This will have long-term lasting effects on him. So that's kind of cool, right? I kind of enjoyed that. And just all through the thing, there was these great little nuances of just anger being personified. Also, on the very last page, you got your book open right there?
Yeah.
All right. On the very last page, when it shows the cover to the next issue, take a look down at the ice cream and tell me what you see.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
So we got some exciting things coming up. The kid's going to actually play a role and be part of it in some way, or at least that's what they're hinting at. I think that's awesome. So yeah, I liked it. It's a hard stash just for the savagery alone in it.
Yeah, I was wondering why they put the cherry at the bottom. That's what I was wondering. Of course, that's supposed to play Pussy's tongue, I'm assuming. But yeah, that's some great stuff in here. I mean, at first, Eddie Brock's getting his ass kicked. He's trying different things. He just keep getting his ass kicked, and then he realizes he's trying to protect these people, and that's when he said he separates the suit out, he gives power to everybody else. And I do like the one line where he does finally realize. He says, and I really only know anything about one Asgardian, and that's when he realizes into the lightning. from Thor, and that's how he dispatches Jack-o'-lantern. That was really cool because, I mean, everything else he had tried before was just not working. He was still afraid of the fire or the venom suit which really wasn't venom, but it was a power gem or something. Yeah, something. Dreamstone, that's right.
Yeah.
But Jack-o'-lantern gets all messed up and missing teeth and everything else. That was a pretty funny looking panel. And of course, toward the end, we have somebody reaching for that stone that Jack-o'-lantern had. We don't know who that is yet.
We don't know.
We always see his little hand reaching for the stone that Jack-o'-lantern had dropped. I don't know why Eddie didn't pick it up. But these three witches are supposed to be like the fates, right, from Greek mythology.
Kind of going with that, yeah, because they don't have any eyes. The eyes are hanging off them. They're not in their sockets.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of going that route with it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, is like the Asgardian stuff kind of very similar to Greek mythology, kind of the same kind of things to it?
Scandinavian mythology, Thor and all that. It plays a lot off of that, but then the other realms kind of play off of other concepts. Like the angels, that's, of course, Christianity, maybe even Judaism to some degree. And then, what is it? None of them are really Roman or Greek. They're kind of staying away from those mythologies and kind of playing off of more, trolls. Trolls are part of mythology from Africa all the way up to Eastern Europe, even some parts of Western Europe. So that's kind of a big giants or mythology all over the world. So yeah, they're playing off of the more lesser popular, I guess I can say, mythologies, because it's just a cop out to go Roman or Greek. That's super easy to go to. Everybody knows those stories. So I like the fact that they're playing off the whole Asgardian thing and Valhalla and all that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Plus, we have another character in Marvel, Hercules, which plays a lot of Greek mythology. So I mean, especially with that last Avengers run with Nyx and all that. So yeah. Okay, where am I? What? I can't remember which screen I'm on to click over to me or you. Let's talk about. Let's see. I'll give this one a brief rundown. Red Sonja, Birth of the She-Devil. I talked about the other regular Red Sonja title last week. How I love the military strategy it had in it. It was something that wasn't necessarily something you thought of when you think of Red Sonja. This kind of goes back to the traditional Red Sonja as just a brawler and a bruiser and just killing everybody, that crosses her. And that's basically what the story is. It's kind of a little bit of her origin story and how she lost a friend, almost like a sister, and she's trying to find her. And that's what this is basically going off. She's kicking ass. She gets captured essentially by this king, and he gets all drunk and says, I want that redheaded slave woman in here with me. I'm going to, please her, essentially. And she ended up just killing him, trying to find information. That was her whole plan all along, was to get captured, to be in his secret chambers, to be able to try to question him. She slices his neck and is hoping he was going to live long enough to be able to answer questions, but he died a little too quick. So she's like, shit. Maybe I shouldn't have. Gods be damned, dead already. So she didn't get a chance to answer any questions. So she's fleeing the village. People are chasing her. The art's not too bad. She's got some big helmet hair, though. Man, bigger than Elvira. If you check out that, man, big old.
Yeah, what's going on with that beehive?
Just so. But it's not too bad. The Pirello cover, the cover A is pretty badass. But if I have to choose between Red Sonjas to follow, it's going to be the regular title, because I like that strategy behind it. I like that different take on a Red Sonja. Mm-hmm. But you can't go wrong with a Pirello Red Sonja cover, though, that's for sure. So unfortunately, it's a blast. I'm not going to be picking up issue 2 unless they have a really, really cool cover. It'll be one of those cover bands for me for sure. You're up with yours.
Well, let's do Detective Comics number 1005. This brings us to the end with quotations, of this particular story arc with Arkham Knight and the Dark Knight doing battle, light and dark, dark being the good and light being the evil, or depending on whichever your perceptions are. I found this interesting. So they're going at it, and everything about them is nothing more than just screaming duality in the opposite, right? Man versus woman, light versus dark, perception versus reality. I would even go that far because, and mostly I say that because Arkham Knight, she perceived that Batman killed her, but he really didn't. And then the reality of it. Yeah, a lot of going back and forth in this. I found it interesting. Some of the art in it is confusing. Like, and I mentioned this on my own show. I was like, out of nowhere, one panel, they're both with flaming swords fighting. And at no point did you see anybody carrying a sword or anything to do with the sword. They're just randomly sword fighting at some point. And I don't really understand how Batman defeated her if you follow the artwork, because it just didn't make any sense. So Arkham Knight blinds about almost all of Gotham with this brilliant light to blind everybody, including Batman himself. And come to find out, of course, it's temporary because it didn't stay on long enough. And they defeat her relatively quickly. But I love the ending to it, just to kind of show that network. We have a new organization in Gotham, if you will, now. And I thought that was interesting because she's obviously going to be getting away and escaping at this point. So, no, we haven't seen the end of her yet. So that's pretty cool. Seems like she's a good villain. Like, I like her because she thinks she's good. And they always make the best villains because you can't convince them they're bad. So I like that. And I love this cover right here, which is this great. I don't know if they meant to do an homage cover to Hamlet. I don't know, but that's what it kind of reminds me of.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, with the skull, and I knew him well. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I look forward to more of this, but I'm not sure where they're going to go next. In 1006, they may continue on with this and just expand this storyline. I don't know, but we haven't gotten any hints or cliffhangers of anything else happening, so I don't know where it's going to go. I'm going to I would blast if it was just the artwork in it, because sometimes it gets kind of cluttered and muddled, and you can't tell what's going on. But for story, it's definitely a stash. I thought it was pretty good, and I like this play off of each other. Good stuff.
Yeah, I've been picking up Detective Comics, but I really have not been following it at all. I think I read the issue kind of like her origin in Arkham Asylum, but it's just one that kind of gets pushed off the side. What's that?
We talked about the ridiculousness of that.
Yeah. Of the insane people essentially babysitting her. Yeah. But this is one of the ones that I'm like, why am I still picking this up? If I'm not reading it, if it gets pushed to the bottom of my stack all the time, maybe just because it is a Batman book, I'm grabbing it. A
lot of people buy for that reason. I know people that keep buying Spider-Man everything.
Yeah.
Like, I can't read it all. That's all I end up buying. And I'm like, stop buying a couple of them.
Yeah, I think Mike buys Walking Dead, but he never reads it.
Mike buys a lot of things and never gets around to reading it. I love them, but...
So yeah, thinking of other people from the panel. I mean, it's unfortunate we can't get everybody. We're definitely missing Drew and Paul and Mike and hoping.
Kind of miss having everybody here.
Yeah. So, but hopefully this won't be for too much longer. We'll see. I got to see what my schedule is going to be like next month. And maybe something might change. I don't know. We're short staff still at work, but okay. Let's talk about Immortal Hulk number 19. I totally spaced that I bought this book until I was watching your video last night. And I'm like, Hulk didn't come out this week. Oh, it did. It was in my stack. I totally spaced it because the last Hulk came out not long ago. So this came out. I mean, the other one must have come out the end of May, and this came out the first part of June. And I'm like, wow, holy crap, that was a pretty quick turnaround. And I wasn't expecting it till probably end of June. But we have the Abomination in here, and we find out he has another power. Hulk's going to go and punch him right in the mouth.
Right in the kisser. And
he ends up grabbing Hulk's hand, and essentially is acid. So the Hulk's hand is bone. He's not healing. Then the Abomination vomits all this stuff all over him. And then it kind of goes to a Red Harpy story and how she's kind of making this connection into the story now too. So she's killing all these guards that are in the alleyway, I think in the same place as where Hulk is fighting Abomination. And she is, I mean, where Hulk kind of tries to save life, I mean, he may tear somebody up pretty bad, but he usually doesn't kill. Harpy does not care. She's ripping stuff up, ripping guys' heads off with her talons. And she's talking about it. I'm not the wind beneath your wings because I have wings of my own and fangs and talons, and this is me. And she's just tearing shit up, and she has no care. And she's talking to that reporter. She's saying, "Hey, you better get out of here. They're gonna kill you if you're here." And she says, "They might. I'm only human, but you're a Hulk. And you have power to not do this." And she's like, "No, this is me. This is what I'm doing." And then we come back to where Hulk, the Red Harpy is going up to where Abomination is, and Hulk's laying there just absolutely tore up. Acid no longer has legs, no longer has arms. His face is all messed up, he can't see. And we think Red Harpy's here to help save him from Abomination. And no, she ends up ripping his heart out and in the process of eating it as the book ends. So, what a total different twist on that. My only thing about this is, and I don't know if it's true with this Hulk, and it could be, Bruce Banner's always trying to find a way to be done, to actually die. And here he is in the process of potentially dying, and he's like, almost like, save me. Maybe that's the Hulk talking, not necessarily Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I think that's the Hulk talking in that one, yeah.
But... yeah, I thought this was a great issue. It definitely picked up a little more and ended on a note that kind of shocked me. Like I said, I figured Red Harpy was going to be there to help. Not Hulk. That's for sure. What'd you think of Immortal Hulk this week?
I thought this was just great. And definitely the quote in the beginning from the Shakespeare play makes sense in it now, right? Mm-hmm. The entire time I'm reading this, you get the flashbacks of Betty, right? Betty Ross. And, it just brought to mind that the classic saying, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. Mm-hmm. Like, she's legitimately a monster, and she's doing bad things. And we'll probably, who knows what's going to happen in the next issue. They might soften it up and find out that it needed to happen because of gamma science that nobody freaking understands. But I really like this Abomination. It's scary. It's a scary picture. And the monsters look like monsters in it. I mean, look at that. That's terrifying, right? So I like it. This is a great horror story. Monster on monster horror story. It doesn't need a whole lot of dialogue to tell its story because you just want to see the scary bits and pieces. And they delivered with that. They really delivered with it. I kind of don't understand this Abomination, though. I don't understand this help me kill you thing that keeps saying. It said in the last issue as well. I don't. Apparently somebody's trapped in it, maybe, is what they're trying to tell us. I don't know. But we'll see, right? Like, I think that's part of the mystery behind it. So we'll get to that. And obviously it's Immortal Hulk, so we know he's not dead. He's going to regenerate, or, again, gamma science, whatever words, to make that happen again. So that's going to be interesting, but I definitely want to see that. I like it. When you have monsters and they have that conflict in there. I want to see what the Harpy does to Abomination as well. I think that will be very interesting. But yeah, this is just great read. It's good to see, a softer character like Betty Ross actually be in the limelight and just be savage about it. I'm loving it. Interesting thing, though, I found out this particular version of the Harpy that's in here is actually based off of an Arabic monster of mythology itself. Apparently, it's something very similar to that. At one time, apparently, through their mythology, lived in the desert and would lure men in and separate head from body, especially men that wandered off from their wives and stuff like that. So I found that to be very, very interesting. I think that Monster Hunter guy did a trip and tried to find it. My wife was telling me about it, so I looked it up. It was a pretty cool story. So, we get a little something there too. That's pretty cool. And like I said, if you have not read, let me make sure I get it right. I always get my plays mixed up. Much to Do About Nothing. If you've never seen that particular play, definitely go watch it. Usually you can catch it when you catch like a Shakespeare in the Groove. It's one of the more popular ones to do in front of a live audience. It's actually a pretty good play. It's pretty funny. So definitely something to check out there. I love the reference that he made to it in here and why. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. You just got to learn yourself. And then when you see it, you're like, oh my God. No, that makes so much sense in the Immortal Hulk. And yeah, again, don't want to ruin it. Definitely check it out. It's definitely interesting.
They do show the Red Harpy, though. I mean, because she's this violent killing machine. But it also shows a part where, she's going through the building. There's a little bellhop there in the corner, freaked out, praying. Right. And she doesn't do anything because he's innocent. So he has nothing to do with all the stuff. So she does know the difference between good and bad. So that's kind of cool. And my other question is, so now that Hulk has no arms and no legs, if you threw him in the water, would he be called Bob? Or would he? I don't know. This is you always heard those jokes when you were a kid. No arms and no legs.
Father's Day, and you did a dad joke. I saw what you did there.
Okay, you want to give us your next book? I don't know if you want to go with something only you read or.
Did you read Silver Surfer Black?
I did, but we can go over that if you want.
I know everybody's been waiting for the review for that one. So yeah. So what did we get? They did the exact same thing that Leviathan did, I felt. They kind of just gave us a catch-up on who Silver Surfer is. That's all they really did. They made a much more accurate depiction of the Silver Surfer, being the herald and having to watch all this devastation that he ultimately pointed in the direction of. And the worst entire panel in the thing is when the people are singing their little songs to Galactus, their god, thinking that, they can appease him, and understanding, again, perception that he's not a god. He's just hungry. And that face change. Oh, that was great, right? And then as we go through it, we find he gets warped. So now some of the things that we were reading in the last issue of Guardians of the Galaxy are kind of making sense in this, right? What happened with the black hole and everything, which I hate the way they do that. But regardless, a lot of that kind of makes sense now. We're in this alternate world, reality, universe. They didn't really make it clear what it was. It was someplace different. And we have these people that are dressed up like Renaissance, like people at a Renaissance fair, just awkwardly faced, I guess. He battles them. The entire story is a narration, which is okay for a quick catch up. And then right there at the end, the magical, mystical door opens up, and it's our boy Null. Null is back, and he's making an appearance in Silver Surfer. I can't wait to see. So now we're caught up. We know what it is. Next issue, we can actually start the story. So think of this as just a setup to make sure that we're all on the same understanding of what Silver Surfer is and what he can and can't do. They set up the boundaries. And now we have Null, who we've met before, and we already know his boundaries. So now we get a great chunk of story to see how far they'll take that. I don't know. I'm super excited. Let it rain excitement. It should be good. And if it's not, it's okay. I got a bonfire.
This is only 5 issues long. It's a miniseries. I love the story. I absolutely loved it. I loved how you talked about how Silver Surfer's emotions kind of changed. You realize he can't really stop what Galactus is doing. He's serving him, but he hates what he has to do. It's seeing all these people get killed. That was kind of funny. People are praising Galactus, and Galactus is consuming them. So it's kind of crappy. But I hated the art. I could not stand the freaking art. It didn't kill the story for me. I thought it was a really great story. It had me intrigued the entire time. How Silver Surfer gets sucked through that black hole, and he's like falling through death. I mean, that's kind of what it's feeling. He's into nothingness, and all of a sudden this little light appeared, and he's able to summon enough power in order to make it to the light. And just when he thinks he's used all his power up, all those people on that planet he makes it to are trying to destroy him, and he keeps having to summon power up in order to survive, in order to say, hey, I don't want to fight you, but this is what we got to do. We got to do. And he summons so much power up that he ends up turning his hand black, and that's that on that cover they show his hand all black. And then we get the reveal of Null at the end of it, which I thought was freaking awesome, because finally he's making these different connections into these other books. He's going to be a bigger character to play in this Marvel universe, which I think is great. He's outside of Venom. Oh, wait a minute. He's doing more. He's going to be a big player. The one panel I don't get, and what really turned me off on the art was this panel here. This shot from underneath a Silver Surfer's crotch.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
And I'm like, what in the hell is that?
We got
good. So, oh God, I could not stand the art. But the story was good enough that it pulled me in. So it's definitely a stash. I'll be picking up all 5 issues of this. I mean, Null's a great character, I think, and I think again, he's going to be a bigger player in the Marvel universe than what he first appeared to be. So good stuff. That definitely a stash for me.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'll talk about Punisher number 12. So at the end of last issue, Baron Zemo was on a jet, and Punisher jumped on the outside. Zemo shot the pilot. I think he ejected him, then Zemo ejected himself, and the jet goes down. That's how we end the story. We don't know if Punisher's alive or dead. He's in the water. Well, apparently he's alive. He got drug up on this island where people are saying, hey, we're going to be able to kill the Punisher. They have him sedated with morphine, I think is what, morphine. But he's a Punisher. He can take as many drugs, as many shots, and as many arrows as you throw at him, and he can survive. And he wakes up, crams a needle of morphine into the bad guy, squishes the bag, essentially making him overdose, and he's just a badass. He ended up killing all these people that are surrounding him. Some people that were dressed as Hydra agents from the prison said, nah, hey, we stole these uniforms. We're here to help you. So they end up setting traps because they don't have enough gas to get off this island they're on. So thinking if they call Hydra over there, or Hydra agents over there, they'll be able to get resources to be able to get off the island. So they do like a whole Rambo thing where they're setting up booby traps for these Hydra agents to come through. You know, they're getting thwacked by homemade arrows. They're getting falling into pits with spikes in them. You know, that whole thing. And so they end up dispatching all the Hydra agents, but in the process blowing up their boat. So that was the whole reason for them to get there, was to be able to steal their boat to get off the island. Well, there is one can floating left. Punisher decides he's going to take it. But he ended up shooting the ex-prisoners, ex-Hydra agents that just helped him survive this attack. And he gets on the boat and he says, I'm leaving the rest of you guys here. I'm taking this boat. I'm taking this fuel. See you later. I'll send somebody to get you. And the one guy at the end says, kiss that baby goodbye. Talking about your boat, the Punisher has. And Punisher ended up landing in Coney Island. This is 13 days later. And he's at the next issue. He's Punisher. Next Punishment War on the Streets Part 2. And apparently he's going to be up against Fisk. So this is kind of a cool. I'm glad we got out of that Baron Zemo stuff. This seems more like the old school Punisher that I know. That's you know, they think they have him down and out, but he's able to come back. Frank Castle is beyond human. Maybe he got into that super serum, super soldier serum that Captain using. Maybe a little taste of it here and there. I don't know. Punisher has been one of my favorites. Rosenberg's pretty good on it too.
Nice.
Go ahead there, Joe.
Let's talk about the Batman Who Laughs, number 6. This was probably the most boring this issue yet. I'm sorry. I know it was not supposed to be, but I just could not get into this. Also, the print that they do the lettering on, the way they do it so thin and small, I know they're trying to show, you know, that they speak differently in some maniacal way, but it's really hard to read. sometimes. I don't, maybe I just need reading glasses, but I seem to be reading everything else fine. Like I gotta like turn on every light in the house just to brighten it up a little bit, that red on black contrast. This one we find out that Batman is turning into the Batman Who Laughs. He has 0 white cells because that they made a big deal out of that. Apparently that's a big deal. And he's turning into the Batman Who Laughs, and they're going to fight now. Okay, great. The Batman Who Laughs has been killing all the other Bruce Waynes. Okay, great. We already knew that. Jim Gordon's kind of not liking his son a whole lot. A lot of son hatred there. You know, okay. But still loves him because it's family member. Just doesn't like what he does. Okay, great. We knew that in the last issue, too. Really, we didn't get anything really nuancy new to this particular story. Let me double check my notes. Hold on here. We got it was a good read. I'm not going to say it was a great read. Disappointed dads, of course. Happiness taken. Strapped persons. So the only thing I could really get out of this that would be somewhat deep would be the exact same thing that I said about the last issue.
Yeah.
Right? What happens when you strip away somebody's personality? What's at the core of it? It's the same story. It's not even continuance. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. All we really got out of this was the complete transformation. Of course, there's some underlining plan. We can underread all that. I don't really have much to say about it. However, I am going to stash it because I think it does play very well off of its own story. And I don't want to end the series this way, right? I want to see what happens at the end, how he gets beat, that kind of thing. But yeah, great covers on this. And I really like this harder covers that they're doing, this cover stuff. That's pretty good. I mean, you're digging when you got to compliment the way the thing was made versus what's in it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm reaching here.
So,
but,
yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but yeah, it's just it's a filler. You see it in every arc, every story. You just got that one issue. Just doesn't really seem to do much for the entire story. And I think we hit that one. So that's good.
This was supposed to be the last issue, but apparently they moved it on to 7 issues.
Yeah, they bumped it up one more, which thank God, because that's not an ending.
Yeah. So the text you're talking about is when Batman's talking, is it like an inner monologue? That's the hardest to read for me.
Yeah, it's all hard.
The Batman Who Laughs stuff is not as bad because it is black. I mean, there's definitely more of a contrast there where when Batman's talking, it's kind of like a really dark gray. But yeah, that thin print, I mean, I wear reading glasses now, but man, I would have to wear that and probably turn lights on in order to read that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Now, I've noticed it from the beginning. I never really paid much. I thought, there's got to be something to it. So when Batman's talking, that monologuing stuff, or the inner thought, they have the white letters in there. And so I actually wrote them out this time, and I'm like, it says, "I'm coming for you. I'm here. Nothing left. Take the leap. Do it." So I need to go back to the other issues and kind of check those out and see what he's saying in the rest of those little things.
No.
Although that was kind of interesting. I said I thought there had to be some importance to those letters. Why are those letters white?
Why are those? Didn't even think. Good catch. Yeah, I might have to go back and take a look at that myself.
Yeah. So it's only when Batman's talking, talking right. About that's the only time it does it.
Like a different color from the rest of them, right?
Yep. So, like I said, I definitely have to go through and kind of read the rest of it. Maybe there's something hidden in. Maybe there's a little
message
clue we're not catching. But yeah, this has been okay. I mean, Batman's almost at that full transformation, or he is now, at least at the end of this issue. That's what Alfred's telling him. There's no good white cells or no good cells left. You're completely him now, blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to find the happy. Oh my God, my voice is cracking. Puberty is hitting at 42. The happiest Bruce Wayne, and that's that Bruce Wayne when he's a kid, and he's but yet Batman Laughs says, "I'm not falling for that trap. I'm the one setting a trap for you, essentially." I'm looking forward to this wrapping up. It's been an okay. Oh, there's more here at the end. Oh, it says the end. That's it. I thought little white letters at the very last page too. But yeah, dude, the cardstock on here, they should make every single cover like this. Every single cover. They're making money. They can do that. You know, especially charge me $5 for the freaking book. So, okay. So we have to see here. I talked about Punisher. We talked about Batman Who Laughs. I think the last ones we have are. I didn't read it, but you read it, and we talked about Detective Comics. I'll talk about Trustfall from Aftershock Comics. This is Christopher Sabella. He also wrote Crowded. He wrote where's my notes? Shanghai Red, and the other one about the family in Oregon. I never remember the name of that book. So he's been kind of all over the place with his stories. Kind of a funny story, a revenge story, a psychological kind of horror story. So, and this one's weird. I definitely don't like this one as much. The whole family is based on the family. The main character, I don't know if she's a teenager or what, but essentially she can shoot with their fingers, pew, 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 you know, and shoot people. She's going into this building, and these guards are saying, "Hey, don't come any closer," down on the ground. And she's, "Oh, you have guns? I have guns too." And she pulls out her finger and shoots these guys with little pink lightning beam thingamahooters. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then she's running away. And it has little things. It says, define trust fall, an exercise in which one person falls backwards without trying to stop themselves, relying on other people to catch them, based on nothing more than the fact that they said they would. You know, and just go through different panels just with that definition. And this car shows dramatically, you know, just automatically up to pick her up. Maybe that's her trust fall right there, like knowing that guy's going to be there to pick her up to get her out of that situation. And then it defines bad guys. Weapons in war to destroy the forces of good. They often come in uniform in the employ of a crooked collection known as the city, the state, and the government. That's where it loses me right there. I mean, I'm not totally like government's always right, but still, I have a strong belief in my government and the law enforcement system and stuff like that. Maybe that's because I'm privileged. I don't know. But all that has shown my political leanings. But she goes back to her family, and they have been accepted into this group called the Dead Flag, which is kind of like, I would say, almost like a union of bad guys. They say, hey, come on in. You're part of us now, and we're going to treat you right. We're going to give you jobs. You're no longer an independent contractor. You're working with us. But it comes out to it. It talks about the wild. Now, she likes to get out of the house into what her family calls the wild. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it says, and she stays in the house a lot, so she doesn't get a chance to get out very often. But she talks about the cultural war waged by enemies to indoctrinate the wild into adopting philosophies through music, TV, and movies. So she's kind of limited on what she can watch for movies and TV. I don't know.
I'm sorry, that book sounds boring as shit.
and the way it's laid out, I don't like it very much either. It's pretty cluttered. If you look at that page, I mean, it was hard for me to read. I mean, certain stuff blocks you can't see, but she ends up going out on a job to the first job for this Dead Flag, and she ends up getting double crossed, and that's how the book ends. So I don't know, man. I like this other stuff, like Shanghai Red. Crowded was okay to begin with, but I think unfortunately Trustfall, I don't trust it.
I am so happy I didn't get that, because I actually saw that one and I was like, yeah.
I thought it was something like, you know, the way she's dressed here, she kind of reminds me of Zatanna, you know, a little magic, and that's what I thought it was going to be, a little more magic oriented. But she's the only one that has any kind of like supernatural hero powers. At least that's all that talks about in this book. But Yeah, this is the whole anti-government, anti-police, kind of stuff that kind of really just threw me off for that. So,
well, thank goodness for bad comic books, because if we didn't have them, this would just be stashing.
it would be the stash. You're correct, but that is a blast. If that's that's spiking on eBay, I'll go ahead and throw it on eBay right now and sell
it. get that quick change.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check on eBay real quick and see where you're going over your next book.
Let's go ahead and talk about Superman number 12B. Man, is this a mess? Oh, this is like taking last night's leftovers and throwing them up against the wall and trying to make a new meal out of it. It is garbage. Oh my God. Thank you for making garbage so good. So what do we got going on here? Well, first we find out that Superboy, or John, or whatever the hell his name is this week, comes back from space a few issues ago, and he's older, taller. He's been through puberty, the whole 9 yards. He's home for like a couple of hours before him and Daddy go flying off into space to go chase down Superman's dad. Come to find out, he's in a battle right now because he's a member of some secret circle. That's what they call themselves. Apparently, Krypton was destroyed for some other outside scene force, according to this Raj Ghul guy. Who the hell he is, nobody really knows. But yeah, we kind of do. I shouldn't just put it that way. But either way, apparently he was responsible for it. So then Supergirl flies in. Why? Because words. It doesn't really matter at this point. She comes zooming in. She's got a magical staff that belongs to this monster guy. Looks at her cousin, her second cousin, John, Superboy, and says, "Hey, we need to go fight this battle over here. Let's fly off." This kid has barely been out of space for like legitimately 6 hours, and he's already back in deep space. He's taken off. And Dad doesn't see a problem with any of this. First off, horrible parenting. Like, you're the worst parents at Superman. Super parent, you are not. Just give that up. And 2, Dad and son, Superman, and his dad, Jor-El, or whatever the hell he's calling himself in this book, he's got a mohawk. I figured that one out. They're trying to figure out, well, no, instead of just telling Superman what happened, he decides to take him to where Krypton blew up and show him. This thing is a disaster from page to page, to cover. It is cluttered. The story's all over the place because it's tied into so much other things, the Supergirl story and like 2 other things. It's impossible to track what's going on in here. So why keep picking it up? Because it's so horrible that you can't help but laugh when you read it. Like, it makes no sense. And Superman is like, I don't know what his deal is. Like, he just kind of goes along with everything. He's the most cuck male I have ever met in my life. He's like, oh, okay, all right, my 16-year-old son, fly off into space and do what you want. No, I get that Superboy's a superhero and he should go do superhero stuff, right? I get that. But like, legitimately, in 2 issues, he's been on like 6 missions already. And Superman's just kind of flying around. Apparently, him and Zod went into some sort of hyperspeed thing and had an entire conversation in this thing. And I still don't know why they had one. They told you the words and everything in it, but that's all it seemed like, just a bunch of words. I don't know what they're doing to Superman. I think it's on purpose. I don't know. But hard blast. But I'm going to go ahead and pick up the next one anyway, because like I said, if it's Blaster or Stash, I got to have one good blast, and I'd rather it be a Superman comic book than some no-name comic book.
Is that cover B? Is that Adam Hughes? It kind of looks like Adam Hughes. It is, okay. I almost picked it up just for the cover.
I mean, it's a cool cover. They've had some great covers for since the relaunch of Superman here. They really have. I think I have all 12 variants up to this point. But yeah, I don't know. The inside, man, it's just it is a cluster mess. It's horrible. It's just too much going on in 28 pages. Too much.
I don't pick up Action Comics or Superman. Never really have. I mean, I think I picked it up when I first started with the Rebirth. I don't know if I have any from. I have one from the New 52. And that's when we first started the show. It was a 52nd issue, and we bought it to review for the show. We had no context and nothing at all what was going on. We read it, we're like, Okay, because a lot of us at that time were just getting back into comics. We're like, right in the middle of the New 52, and it's like, okay. So we don't know why we even read it. So let's talk about, I did not read this, but it's always a cover buy for me, and unfortunately it's not the best one either. And I got 2 covers for it. I got the Linsner cover, which I always love Linsner, and that is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. That's a Linsner cover, and I always have to get the photo cover. Always have to get it. That's not the best one I've seen, but it's Elvira. It's Cassandra Peterson,
Elvira
and
too,
she's old enough to be our mother. And again, I think these are older pictures they're using to reprint on there. But I mean, as far as I know, she still looks pretty good for being 65-ish.
She's a gilf.
Yeah, she is. It was funny. I was looking up facts about Cassandra Peterson. I was on the internet. So facts about, and it came up with like Grandparents Daily magazine. I'm like, oh my god, that just destroys all of my
It's horrible.
Yeah. Images of Elvira. You read the story, didn't you?
Yes, I did read this, and this is the best Elvira story out there right now. It's funny, it's witty. In this particular issue, they used a lot of literary references in it, and then made fun of the fact that they were making so many literary references that people would stop reading the book. Like, it was great. We got a kind of a play off of I forget the name of the story, but the 7 Circles of Hell, about the guy that traveled through the various circles of hell. That's kind of the play off of here. I forget the name of that. Anyway, and Faust is involved and everything else. And great, just banter. The only reason to read Elvira is not because it's going to be an action comic or super great, but you read it because of the banter. It's just funny words, sexualized innuendos, tongue-to-cheek references to themselves, making fun of their own medium. And they did not disappoint in this one. As a matter of fact, I'll probably end up dropping all the other Elvira series and just focus on this one. This seems to have my attention the most. And they know how to draw Elvira in this one. In the other one, it's all muddled and weird looking. In this one, they got the hourglass figure down, which she is known for. And the banter's just better in it. It really is.
So it says here, Cassandra Peterson is actually 67 years old.
67. Mama, god dang it.
I know she still does like her Halloween stuff at some theme park for like a couple months out of the year. So she still dresses up as Elvira and does that. But yeah, almost 70 years old. Like I've said it numerous times. One of my prepubescent crushes was Cassandra Peterson, and she's older than my parents. Yikes. My last book that I did read, because those were all just cover buys, is Unnatural number 10. This is the continuing story of I think it's the albino wolf that's inside of this pig Leslie, and constantly trying to get out, and she's constantly fighting it. So that's essentially this whole story here. There are 2 times where the wolf is trying to get out, trying to kill her friends, but her friends fight it back, help hold her down, help her get control of herself again. And a little more backstory about Leslie's mom, and we find out, and maybe we found out in the last issue, I don't remember, that her mom is the main villain of this whole story. I even forgot what her name was. The Glance, that's her name. That character right there with that skull-looking face. Oh, I just showed pig nips on YouTube. Great, I'm gonna get banned. Ban pig nips. So a lot of pig nips in this story here, but they said they're still trying to fight that wolf that's inside of Leslie, trying to fight it back, trying to say, no, you are this person, you're not this wolf, you have control over yourself, not this inner demon that you have. So And that's just how the book ends. So hopefully, like I said, this book started out totally different than what it is now. It started out more of love who you want to love. You know, there was laws against about loving people outside of your race, outside of your gender, to this whole supernatural thing. So it's weird. It's almost two separate stories, really, but 2 more issues to go. I'll finish it up. The art is great. I love the art in this book. Good, clean lines, and overall, this fairly decent stuff. So definitely picking up issues 11 and 12 to finish up this run. That's the last book I've read this week.
Slacking, homie.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I'll do a quick lightning round. Let's see here. We'll go with Marvel. Got Spider-Man Life Story 1990s. This was an okay read. They kind of played off the theme of the Clone Saga with Spider-Man, which was a garbage storyline. They kind of cleaned it up in here and made a little fun with it. A lot of references to older comic book stories. If you don't know, basically we're just taking 1960 Spider-Man and we're continuously aging him as we go through the 90s. This picks up in 1995. A lot of good references from the 90s in there. I liked it. It was okay. I'm not deeply enthralled in this. I'm basically the next one's Batman 2000, so he should be slightly older. So that should be interesting. We'll see him in this one. He's a middle-aged man who's been divorced. So that's like every white dude in the 90s.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next, we got Invaders. I enjoy Invaders. I know it's not the most popular comic book out there. Heavily dialogued, weird snaps of story. But in this particular one, Namor sets off the bombs that turns an entire city into Atlanteans. And he's going to take a flood and save their lives at the same time. Thought that was an interesting concept. But he's trying to start a war without being the bad guy at the same time. So that's interesting. You can get lost in that very easily. Prodigy, thank you for writing this comic book. Please stop. We get the guy knows everything. So really, how interesting can the comic book be, right? But then we find out this great twist that he was actually fooled in something, and then come to find out, wah, wah, wah. No, he really wasn't. He already knew. And I was like, really? Like, you're that perfect? Like, you can't even slightly be tricked? Like,
I knew you were taking that step, so therefore I did this to make you feel like I didn't know.
And neither did the readers. That's worse than a holodeck. I swear to God, it's worse than a holodeck. They're making a show out of it either way. I'm kind of curious where the show goes with it. That should be interesting. And next, one of my favorite reads, and this is Gunning for Hits. This talks about the music industry in the 1980s. And they kind of do a playoff of David Bowie, because David Bowie kind of went through this thing where he's really popular in the 70s, and then he was like shit in the 80s, late 80s, and then like he came back in the 90s and he was all weird, that kind of cycle that musicians go through. Kind of does a playoff of that in here. Talks about and again, this is another one of those stories where it has that unusual dialect or dialogue going on in it that I liked. It looks like they're picking up another series of this, another 6 issues, where the music producer guy is going to be dealing with a gangster rap from LA band, and he's picking up a grunge metal band too. So we'll kind of see where that goes as they flow into the 90s with this kind of thing here. I don't know why I like it. I guess maybe that would be accurate. I enjoy reading it. I enjoy the characters in it. Not a lot of action, but I just like it for some reason. When I read it, I'm like, oh, that was pretty good. Bam. And I picked up a reprint for War of the Worlds, strictly for the cover. I really like the reflection in the shield here of the monsters that they're going up against. Something about Punisher and a sword just made me happy. So I went ahead and bought it. But that is it for me. I'm done. I'm out of here. Good night, folks.
I got a couple covers to show off and talk about. That Gunning for Hits. So I listened to another podcast. They were saying that writer was actually in the music industry. He was actually a producer and all that stuff. So he has kind of that inside lingo and kind of understands what stuff is going
The
on.
greatest thing about it is the writers of this thing. You get that concept, right, of how the music industry worked in the '80s. You definitely, somebody in the know, no doubt, but I don't think people realize just how cutthroat it could be.
Yeah.
You kind of get that sense in here.
So I'm thinking that the gangster one's going to have a drive-by shooting scene. And
it's probably going to be a spin-off from the NWA story, is what I'm
probably.
thinking.
And the grunge one's going to end with a shotgun in the attic. That's that's all. Yes, I went with a Nirvana Kurt Cobain joke. The other books I picked up this week were, where is the third one? Oh, it's the Red Sonja. Where's Red Sonja? Red Sonja. I think I showed it already, though. Where is it? There it is. So, these are the books I brought. I already showed the Red Sonja book. These are the cover buys. The Justice League Odyssey number 10, the Jessica Cruz Pirello variant. Let me click on me so I'm actually on that screen. There we go. The Jessica Cruz Pirello cover. You got the Art Germ Catwoman cover right there. The old school 50s Catwoman design. I think he's going through the generations of Catwoman's in her costume, because I think the next one is Catwoman the animated series costume. Looks pretty cool. I like that. And then Wonder Woman 72. This is the Frizen variant. I like the Frizen. I was talking to my wife, Mighty LJ, about like this. It seems like the lighting's not quite right there. If that lasso's lit up, they should have some more of light up top if she's wearing like a hooded cloak. I think that would add a lot more depth to that picture. So I asked her what the cover of the week this week was, and she went with Catwoman as a runner-up, but her pick of the week is the Justice League Odyssey Jessica Cruz Pirello. She liked that color, that green, that kind of brought that made that pop and that light. So I'll figure out who the winner is on that one. Those are my books for the week. I did pick up Dead Man Logan number 8 that came out last week that I missed, so I haven't read that yet. And I don't know why I picked it up. 5 Years number 2. I don't think I read the first one because I was kind of confused. There were so many characters I didn't know. Strangers in Paradise. The only one I really know is Motor Girl. That's the one that I read from Terry Moore. So that's it. That's our books for the week. And shout outs or anything, or we want to talk about our Patreon. Last month's Patreon winner was Matthew Sloan. So I gave you a choice on our Patreon page. Do you want the Venom cover or the Vampirella cover? I don't have either one of them yet. They've already been ordered. You get to choose which one you want, and then the next winner will get to choose between whatever one he didn't want, and I'm not going to show it off yet. I'm not going to show it. I'll show it off later when Matthew Sloan gets a pick, because I don't want him going, man, I wish that was in the option. So definitely go check out our Patreon. $1 a month gets you entered into this contest. The books are running from anywhere from $15 to $25. Plus shipping to me, then I ship it out to you. So, I mean, we're in at $30 sometimes a month for that. So, definitely go check that out. Some cool books. Again, for $1 a month. 1 entry, 2 for 2 entries, 3 for 3, as well as I do the Mighty LJ Pick of the Week, which I got to get last week's out as well. So, definitely go check that out. It helps support this channel, helps support us. We have various social media accounts. We have our Facebook, we have our Twitter, we have our Instagram. Also have our Podbean, our podcast of the audio of this show that I just uploaded last night. So I'll end up uploading this one hopefully tonight if I got time, but I'll be going out of town this week. And our website, which kind of gives you a link to all of that stuff. So if you want to just go to our website, you can go to that, and it'll give you the links to everything else, as feed and everything else. So that's all I got this week. Joe, anything from you?
Nope. Good night.
Nope. Good night.
No, hey, thank you everybody in the chat room for swinging by. Again, we'll get on to a more consistent thing here soon. We'll be live so y'all can insult us live.
Yeah.
That would be. Also, hey, hopefully we can get everybody else back on the show. Miss you. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I think everybody on our panel is a father. So happy Father's Day to Spectacular Grandpa, Huey, Midwest Comic Guy, and Drew Manchu. Yes, Drew Manchu has Spawn out there in the world.
That's scary. That is really scary.
Yep. He's going to chase me down now. Other than that, hey guys, thanks again for swinging by. We appreciate having you. Check out our Patreon. Check out our channels. We always got something going on. Leave a comment. And if you really, really, really like us, give us a thumbs up. If not, it's your duty to give us a thumbs down.
Yeah, definitely share this out so we can get more subs. Like I said, if we get more Patreon people, we're going to be able to buy bigger books or double the prizes or something like that. So definitely be well worth it for $1 a month. That's less than a candy bar now. Less than going to buy your chocolate fix. You can help support the channel and win a good book. So with that, whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next week.